Welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is bits and pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss about 4 topics. But these are small topics and they don't really warrant a huge discussion about. And therefore it will be a lot of reading basically and so on to get the facts right and stuff like that. But I thought that these would be interested, and if not interested, then they would be funny. And if not funny, then they would be alarming. So let's go for today's bits and pieces. In any case, a recent event, about on the 7th of December or 6th December, the US lawmakers narrowly rejected the long-awaited audit on Ukraine aid. Can you believe it? A resolution calling for an audit of U.S. military and economic aid to Ukraine has been narrowly defeated in the House of Representatives. This measure was spearheaded by a Republican called Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it was rejected by 26 to 22. So, what did happen? The Democrats voted against that. The Democrats that are in power at this stage. In any case. The proposed audit has been strongly opposed by the House of Democrats, who argued that such oversight actively would have sent a wrong signal to Ukraine. Can you believe it? And then they quote, "This is not the time for us to be divided. We've held together with NATO and the EU and our allies. Let's not fall into this trap," said Gregory Meeks. Okay. The Republicans rejected such arguments, insisting that the measure was about transparency and accountability for Americans, rather than about sending any message to Kiev. Greene also claimed that the House Democrats were blinded by hate for her and were making Ukraine oversight a pure political issue. Well, we all know by now that weapons are donated by various NATO countries to Ukraine. Not donated, but sent there. Ukraine still has to pay for some of them. I don't know if it's going to be reduced to rubble or halved in size. I'm not sure how they're going to pay back these monies, but yeah, that's not my problem. But we also know that a lot of these weapons never reach the front, according to studies made by some Western media outlets and other organizations, and that a lot of these weapons go onto the black market, which Ukraine is renowned for. And there were multiple questions. I think Ron Paul I think it was him, but I'm not totally sure, that tried to prevent didn't agree with some aid package. Rand Paul. Oh, somebody else. Sorry. Can't get the name now. In any case, it tried to didn't agree with one of the bigger packages, but later was convinced or overridden, and then, well, it was approved by the US government. And only was asking for some order and oversight. In any case, the officials, the Democrats, have voted no to transparency for the American people for an audit for Ukraine. But we take over in January, and this audit will happen, said Greene. Well, the Republicans are taking over the House of Representatives in January, so this will probably be done. Oh yeah, don't forget about there were about 70 US soldiers sent to Ukraine and a general, but there's very little news about that, and if there's no reply, then why are these Republicans or Green making a demand for an oversight? So I'm fairly confident there are no reports coming back to the US about weapons delivery as compiled by these 70 guys and one general. In any case, so that's what's the one topic. And here comes the disturbing part. The heading is UK City defends new climate lockdown policy. What does it mean? I'll read it again. The city of Oxford has embraced the concept of limiting citizens' personal travel to fight climate change An idea once dismissed as a conspiracy theory. So now these mad idiots are going to limit our travel in order to fight climate change. Now, how woke can you get? How mad can you get? How stupid can you get? But in any case, the Oxford County Council so-called traffic filter system was adopted last week, and the city will be divided into 6 15-minute neighborhoods containing all local necessities, with residents required to register their cars so their comings and goings can be tracked by a network of cameras. They are allowed unlimited movement in their own neighborhood, but in order to drive through the filters, that means to the next sections, they must apply for a permit. Even then, they are only granted access to other neighborhoods for an average of 2 days per week. Those who exceed their travel allotment will be fined. God. And then typical. However, the campaign director for Oxford Livable Streets, Sahura Plummer, claimed that the initiative would save lives and make our city more pleasant now and for future generations, citing an official analysis. The projected 35% less traffic, 9% fewer road casualties, 15% faster bus times, and 91% less in air pollution. And here comes the other caveat. The city will also benefit financially with any driver caught passing through the filter without an exemption or permit being charged £70 penalty per violations. Planners expect the city will make as much as £1.1 million per year from fines. This is true, people. This is real. This filter has been established. It is now in Oxfordshire. In any case, economics professor Mariana Mazzucato allowed a grim future in which people would be required to submit to climate lockdowns for part of the year, barred from using personal vehicles and consuming red meat, while fossil fuel companies will be prohibited from drilling, all in the name of warding off catastrophic global warming. People, you have to start becoming used to the idea of vegetarian. No more red meat. Cows are farting too much. Sorry. Global warming. That's it. And no more driving. Don't go visit your neighbor here if he's in another neighborhood, even if it's only one street away and you're living on the border of this one neighborhood. No. Get a permit and stand 1 hour or 2 hours in the line to get that permit. Oh, climate change. Okay, so we got to our third topic. Our famous Latvia Parliament is set for a dose of the occult. Latvian MP Natalia Marchenko-Yotko has hired a prominent local witch and healer as her aide. Her name is Sanita Pietia, but she's more commonly known as the White Witch. Now, this is not Latvia. The ones that are so mad and calling for war against Russia and instigating NATO to go and fight and die in Ukraine for Russia, and those tail that wags the poodle. Well, they are getting advice from the White Witch. No wonder they are so mad. In any case, so in responding to Latvian media, Peter insisted that the country's parliament, the Saima, was just the right place for a woman in a line of business. And then she asked, can't a witch be in the Saima, that's the parliament? I think we are very important and useful in politics. Yes. Throw the bones. Throw the bones. Throw out the tarot cards and predict the future of Latvia. Maybe you will become a billionaire. And the most prosperous country in the world. The new MP's aide is no stranger to politics herself, having unsuccessfully run for parliament and been previously nominated for the welfare minister role by the For Stability Party. Peter, or Petere, or what I call, is perhaps best known in the country as a self-styled healer and lithotherapy practitioner. The therapy, also known as crystal healing, is an alternative medicine practice that uses various semi-precious stones and crystals to purportedly transform a body's aura, flushing out bad energies and replacing it with good. Yeah, the pseudoscience, yeah. That's our cult. That is, witchcraft, isn't it? And anybody that believes that crystals will change your aura and then heal you and drive back, no, I'm not even going there. But that's the story, funny story for today. And then we have the more serious one. So on the 1st of December, our Sergeant Solch, like Peter Lavelle calls him, explained the need for US warplanes. Apparently, Germany must buy F-35 fighter jets, which will allow Berlin to keep up with NATO's nuclear deterrence scheme. And what he basically said is, Germany will speed up the procurement of US-made F-35 fighters, that piece of junk that can't do anything, jack of all trades, master of none, that type of thing, and constantly suffocates the pilots and I don't know, all the other stuff that goes with it. In any case, speed up the procurement of US-made F-35 fighter jets to maintain the capability to deploy nuclear weapons as part of NATO's shared deterrence. Well, firstly, those nuclear weapons belong to America. Germany is not allowed to touch those nuclear bombs, the B-61. So, number one, why would Germany need the F-35? I don't understand that. Secondly, the B-61 bombs, nuclear bombs, can only be activated by American personnel. So again, why would Germany try to use them? They can't use them. They are basically duds or inactive or unarmed bombs. Germany is not going to get any nuclear benefit out of that. It's not going to get any Germany is not going to suddenly become a nuclear power. That's not, but that is what Sergeant Schultz says to us. Berlin needs to be able to deploy nuclear weapons as long as Russia has a nuclear arsenal, and a German leader said on Wednesday at the security conference in Berlin, anything short of that would mean making us vulnerable to blackmail. Again, does Scholz think that Germany, by buying F-35s, will become a nuclear power? Is that the extent of his intelligence, of assessment, conclusion? Scholz was referring to Western claims that Moscow was threatening to use nuclear weapons to gain the upper hand in the Ukraine conflict. Remember, this is not only... Firstly, the whole statement is wrong. Russia never threatened to use it. And then also it is in Ukraine, it's not in Germany. So why the hell would you do it? In any case, Russia's position is that any military confrontation between nuclear nations, even a conventional one, must be avoided due to the risk of escalation. That is Lavrov that said that. But the German Chancellor said his country will finalize a deal by the end of the year on procuring Lockheed Martin F-35 fighters designed to launch nuclear bombs. Currently, the only warplanes in Germany fleet with that capability are the Panavia Tornadoes, which the military seeks to replace with more modern aircraft. And the Luftwaffe has some 90 of these jets, which can carry the bomb, by the way, and which were introduced in the 1980s and are due to be phased out between 2025 and 2030. That is still between 3 and 7 years forward. So why is the decision made now to buy F-35s? Just for the reason of being capable of carrying nuclear bombs. And Germany are considering purchase up to 35 F-35s. The inclusion of the American aircraft on the list of replacement candidates, which a German defense minister reported to Parliament in March, reversed a previous decision by the government of Chancellor Angela Merkel, which favored the European Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jets. Well, that makes a lot more sense. That's an in-house fighter. A fighter that works. A fighter that doesn't experience all these problems. Who still apparently can't carry any armament and fire these armaments. But these aircraft, the Typhoon, however, are not compatible with the US-made B-61 nuclear gravity bomb. So a complementary purchase of F-18s, Super Hornets, were considered. Well, that makes a little bit more sense. You know, F-35, so you buy a fighter purely for its ability to carry a nuclear bomb. But you forget that he can't do anything else, because in everything else he fails the test. So you would rather have a jack of all trade, do nothing, and instead of having dedicated Eurofighters that are in-house that you can produce in mass, and then just have some backup F-18s to carry the bomb. Why? I don't know, but it seems to me that Sergeant Schultz thinks he's the new nuclear power man on the block type of thing. Doesn't make sense. But for a Chancellor of Germany to even consider this, when he precisely knows what the nuclear treaties are, and he precisely knows how dangerous it is. Because once you have these nuclear armaments, then you are becoming a target. And if you make a mistake, then you are nuclear annihilated. But if you don't have nuclear weapons, and you make a mistake, then you're not going to be nuclear annihilated. Those are the simple options that you have. And we all know that you don't want, Germany never agreed or wanted these B-61 bombs stored on their soil. They were forced to do it by the Americans. There were huge protests in Germany against these bombs. And they still haven't been removed. So why would Schultz support this? And then specifically buy aircraft for that purpose? Well, you cannot buy stupidity. You are born like that. In any case, that's my story for today. 4 short stories. Hope you like them. If you want more, subscribe to the channel, spread the word, tell your friends. And until next time, cheers.